In this video, I'm going to share my thoughts on how to filter algorithmic trading EAs so that they only trade in certain market conditions, filtering out times like this, which you can see here in the strategy tester, didn't take trades for about 6 months. I'm going to run you through some of the code and the thoughts behind it, as well as share some of my goals with you, which include getting to 1,000 subscribers and then building an expert advisor that can pass the FTMO prop firm challenge month over month. Let's dive in. I've run this test on the Euro USD. It's a 5-minute chart using a custom period over the last 3 years. No forward testing, delay of 5 milliseconds, which is around what I can get on a VPS. We're modeling every tick. We've got this unchecked because we don't want to calculate profit in pips because it skews the data heavily in the favor of the trader. Got a deposit of 100k just so we can work with the proper margins, etc. And we're not optimizing because we've done some testing already. I've got some inputs here. We're not using the tests for the day. We've got the RSI and low and high set to 25 and 70 respectively. Got the deviation for the Bollinger Band, which we'll show you later, is 2.6, and movement, so this is the target and stop loss amount of price movement, is 0.01, but then we've got the risk reward ratio of 2. So for every trade that we have, the stop will be 0.01, while the take profit will be 2 times that, so it'll be 0.02 away from the entry point. So we've discussed some of the inputs. Let's have a quick look at the back test. I'm going to go through the code shortly. We can see here that Monday, Wednesday and Friday are really good days. Now the issue with this profit and loss by weekday is that the trades are held over a period of time. They're not necessarily opened and closed in that same day. So filtering out Monday, Wednesday and Friday wouldn't necessarily fix the code to make it better, but it is something to consider. We can also see that January, April, July, August, September were really profitable, while November and October were really bad months for this algorithm. There's a ton of information and data in the back test, but we'll have a look at the graph, and what we can see is a slope upwards. It starts coming down and then the market condition changes, which I'm going to talk about shortly, and it slows down taking the trades when that market condition is triggered, because this particular algorithm doesn't perform well in that scenario. So let's dive over to the code. So I've just got some notes here. I've been working on the RSI, moving average and Bollinger to make sure that they're working correctly. We've included the C-Trade module. We've got some pricing information here, bid and ask, as well as a spread check. We've got the maximum spread is 3 pips. We've got the Bollinger, the day of the week, and some other information here. These ones, position count long and short, they're actually just to filter the amount of trades that we're entering at any one time. So we've got a long trade and a short trade, can be open at any one time, but no more than 1 per direction. We've also got all of the input integers and doubles here that we talked about earlier. So we've got the 2.6 Bollinger deviation, the RSI high and low, the movement, which effectively becomes our stop loss, and then our take profit uses the risk reward ratio of 2. It's not actually what's put here because we can input that information, and that makes that 0.02 away from the entry, which we'll talk about shortly. We're calling inside the void on tick function where the actual magic happens of the code. We've got some information here that basically sets up the trade counter, so it counts all of the buy positions, and this is the framework that I build it around, as well as the sell side, which we'll cover. So this is an outside function, and I'll quickly go down to outside of this void on tick function to show you what I mean. That's the final bracket there of the on tick function where all of the trading and everything happens, but we've got some counters outside of that bracket on their own, which is basically counting either a sell position based on the sell type, the position type, and the symbol, and then we basically just put a counter on that, and it adds on 1 for every position that it counts in this for loop. So it's counting the total positions based on the filters that we put in here. And then it returns this type cell number, which we count in this little bracket. So that function returns the amount of sell orders that we currently have open based on the conditions that we've set here. And same for the buy side. So exactly the same, only it's a type buy. Back up to the top of the on tick function now. We've got the bid and ask. We've got some time functions here. We haven't actually used the day of the week just yet because I'm still working on some of the thought process behind why I want to take certain trades, what market conditions I want to outline for the algorithm to operate within. And what I'm thinking of doing later is actually setting a trending market going up. We'll have different trades to a market that is just going sideways or in a channel that it doesn't have a direction. We've got some Bollinger Band information here, so we're laying out the array, we're calling the I-bands function, and then we've set the copy buffers for both up band and low band. So we've got to actually call a copy buffer for the high band and the low band. That'll build out our array. And then we've also done a similar thing for the moving average, or MA, IMA, and we're calling that on a daily chart, and we're normalizing the double to basically get some information from that moving average on the 0th day and the 3rd day. So the current day number of the moving average, and then 3 days ago, or 4 days ago, I should say. Same for the RSI, and we're getting some information once again, getting all the close, high, low, and open prices here because we might use them in a moment. And then I'm also commenting some of the values such as the RSI and upper and lower Bollinger Band just to make sure that they're at the correct figures that I'm expecting. So it's good to have a comment or a print function available just to debug and check what our work is actually doing. Very important. Now, one more thing before we jump into the thought process of placing these trades is we've got a 3-day trend. We've got a moving average value, take the 3MA. That is looking at the difference between the moving average now versus 3 days ago. What price was that moving average set to a few days ago? And we get a bit of a direction and therefore a trend. And I'm going to test out later on a 20-day or a 10-day trend direction rather than just a 3-day trend, and see if we can get an idea based on this moving average figure, one over the other, to see what direction and the strength of the trend. So let's dive into the thought processes of placing the trades here. So we just want to check the spread, make sure it's not at like 10 pips or 20 pips or something crazy. We only want to get into the market at a maximum of 3 pips, as the max spread outlines later. So we've just got spread check is less than, that'll be 3 or whatever we put in up the top. And then we go and to add on another variable. So this is inside an if statement. So we go and the RSI value has to be greater than the RSI high. Because this is a sell trade, we want to get in at market highs. So the RSI value on the chart at the time of looking for this trade or on the tick needs to be higher than whatever we've set here, which I believe it is about 70. Then we go and again, the upper, so we also want the bid to be outside of the upper Bollinger Band. So we've got 2 indicators that tell us that the market is traditionally high for that period of time based on the indicators. And then we check the 3-day trend. Now, if the 3-day trend is at 0.01 or less, and I actually want to make that a negative, and I'll see if that works shortly, I'll give it a test run. But I want to make sure that the market is trending downwards, and a negative value here, as per the comment that I've put in, is a negative value should return or outline that the market is trending downwards, whereas a positive figure down here for the buy trade will indicate a positive or trending up market based on that period of time, the 3 days. I'm also going to put in and layer in another time series, such as maybe 20 days, but I'm going to test it all out shortly. We also want to check the moving average value. So on a daily chart, we've got a 200 EMA, and we're just making sure that the bid is lower than the moving average value so that we're not taking trades that are going short into a very bullish market, and vice versa for the buy trades. We don't want to buy into a downward moving market. We've also got the close price, and we're testing out if we put the bid has to be greater than the close price of the previous day. The thought process behind this was actually to go only if the bid was lower than the close price, but when I reversed it to the thought process that I had, it actually performed worse. So I've changed it back to only when the bid is greater than the close price that we're going to take a sell trade. Now, the reason I've done that is because I've tested it. My thought process was incorrect. I'm listening to the data and adapting as I go. By taking out a lot of these scenarios where we're either below quite a solid moving average or the market is moving in an upward or downward direction, we're able to filter whether the market is trending or not. Now, I'm just going to compile this, and I'm going to go back over to the platform and retest it just to see if I can actually use a negative number. So it turns out there's something wrong with this thought process here that I'm going to have to play around with. So I'll just give that a run back to where it was, and that'll start to trade. Now, the goal here is to basically create something that will help me pass the FTMO and other funded prop firm challenges using MQL5 for MT5 platforms. And as I build out the thought process for this, and I just wanted to share it with you, is I'm eliminating certain market conditions that aren't favorable to this particular strategy, and then I'm going to layer on other strategies that are more beneficial in those types of market conditions, so that no matter the market condition that I'm trading in, the algorithms that I have as a portfolio will hopefully be able to work together and be profitable in most market situations, or at least enough to get past the FTMO challenge rules and other prop firms that are quite similar. So as we can see here, the market stops trading through this period and it stops some of the losses. As I build out the FTMO prop firm challenge expert advisor that I want to build and work with, I'm going to layer in things like daily stop outs to make sure I exit. If the market loses too much in any one day or over a period, it will adjust the risk and reassess what it's doing. The same goes for once it reaches the profit target, which of say 20 grand, it would stop trading once it reaches that. So once equity hits 20k profit target for the 200k challenge, it'll close all the trades and it'll stop all trading so that I can go and apply for the verification stage and move forward to the funding process. I'll also layer in concepts such as a notification that can come straight to my mobile when I've got MetaTrader logged into the FTMO account, and also playing around with the risk and stops to break even, that kind of thing. That's going to come a little later as I build out the thought process mainly for the market conditions, so that I can then refine what I'm doing on a little bit more of a scientific basis. If you enjoyed this video or took something positive from it, please hit the like button below. It lets me know this is helping others. To see more great content like this, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay updated with the latest.